Good morning. It's Vlogmas day 2. My hair looks a bit better this morning. I actually blow dried it and moussed it properly. Yesterday it was just a case of dye it and blow it dry and not really fuss with it. So I'm really pleased with how it looks this morning for work. I've got my Christmas light earrings in, plain black t-shirt and jeans. Yeah, it's going to be a good day. I've got a funny light on my face because someone's headlights are on and they're shining in my rearview mirror. Just finished my 4.5-hour shift at work. It was busy. It could have been busier, admittedly. The store wasn't super bustling, but I was on the go the whole time. With it being Cyber Monday, the main busyness was filling online orders. But of course, while you're trying to fill the online orders, there's people trying to ask you questions all the time. So it's like, so many distractions. Trying to have a few more sips of my coffee before I go home. May not be a good idea to be drinking coffee at this late in the day, but I just felt like sitting here for a few minutes just to decompress a bit. Just before I came out, there was a customer who was buying so much stuff, except he didn't end up buying so much stuff. He ended up deciding not to take half of it. And so he kept asking me how much things were and then saying he wasn't going to take it. So there was a big pile of rejects on one side of the till and a big pile filling up the shopping bag on the other side of the till. And when he saw the bill, which was over $500, he was starting to get a bit antsy. And I thought, oh, I hope he doesn't walk away and not pay for all this after I spent 20 minutes with him. Anyway, it was time for me to go home, so I'm not going to know how that ended up unless I ask somebody tomorrow. Shocked a few people with the hair color today. Told them this was my usual. This is my normal hair color. The brown and grey isn't normal for me. They haven't seen this side of me before. I looked at the weather forecast this morning and it was just a sort of pretty blah day. Oh, sorry, I was just choking on my coffee, so my eyes are all red now and weepy. And it said sunset was at 3:58, so we are officially past sunset now, although it's not particularly dark yet. Looking forward to getting home, having some dinner and settling in for some crafting time. Well, we are home. Everyone's back from their respective workplaces and we have had dinner. It was a simple dinner of tortillas with homemade bean dip and guacamole and lettuce and tomato and chopped bell pepper and salsa. Super easy, but everyone likes it and we're all happy now with full tummies and it's time to think about something fun. When I was at the library on the weekend, I picked up a few books. This one's called DIY, damn it. And it's all about making stuff. Are you surprised? No. Anything that's got to do with making stuff I like. I flicked through it. It's all about crafting things, various things. No specific craft. I also got this one out again. It's called Big Knitting. So big yarn, big needles. I quite like this top on the front and I'd like to do that in maybe a winter weight yarn. Make a cozy layer over a turtleneck top. That would be nice. Got a cross-stitched one. Very, very thin. But there's a lot of good ideas in there. Cute patterns. And this one, another cross-stitch one. Sweet nothings for Christmas. So that's got some cute patterns as well. I don't think I'll make any of them, but it's nice to look. And then I also picked up 3 novels. Have no idea what these are like. There's Superhost by Kate Russo. The Swindler's Daughter by Stephania, not Stephanie, but Stephania H. McGee, and Deception Cove by Owen Laukkanen. No idea what those are going to be like, but I fancied having some actual physical books to read. There's nothing like a real book, is there? Ebooks and that are great, but not quite the same. So I'm going to tip out my winter puzzle now. I've just cleared off half of my coffee table and I'm going to tip out pieces and maybe get started on that. Thought I'd give you a laugh and wear my Hello Kitty onesie tonight. So this is the pattern, the picture I'm going to be making, hopefully getting some help from the other family members in the next few weeks. I bought this at a store in Victoria, British Columbia, on Vancouver Island last year. We went there for our anniversary retreat. I'm going to start sorting out the edge pieces, go from there. My gamble paid off. The puzzle will fit, but I obviously missed a couple of the edge pieces on my first hunt through. I'm going to have to just go through it all again. I was just watching Kate at the last Homely House. For Advent, she is doing a video a day for her patrons on Patreon, and she is getting out of her comfort zone a little bit in that she is doing a bit like what I did last Friday, getting out paints and pens and paper and that sort of thing, and creating something just for the joy of creating. So she's been making these videos over the course of months. She and her daughter-in-law, and in fact the rest of her family, all get in on helping her out with her YouTube channel. They plan so far in advance. I don't know about you, but I am not really much of a planner. And I think it's just because I tend to think that the more you plan, the more likely your plans are going to be derailed. Things change, don't they? You might think that life is going to trundle on at the same pace and you're doing the same things for a long time, but that isn't always the way. People get injured, people get sick, people die. Your life situation may change. And I just like to stay as close to the present as possible and not long for something in the future too much. I mean, yeah, it's nice to book a holiday and look forward to it. But when I book a holiday, it's usually only 3 months away. It's not 3 years away, for example. I've been saying to Mr. Stitches for a very long time, you know, we shouldn't wait till we're retired to do the things we want to do. Of course, some things you need a lot of time for. Like we've always wanted to go to New Zealand. You can't really see enough of New Zealand in a 2-week holiday to really make it worth the while, can you? So that's something that is being put on the back burner until we have more time. But if this last year has taught us anything, it's to seize the day. Luckily, Mr. Stitches survived his throat cancer and the treatment okay. In fact, on December 19th, it'll be the anniversary of his diagnosis. So we're not just celebrating his birthday and our anniversary this month, we're celebrating his good health too. But yeah, I think another reason I don't tend to plan ahead a lot is I don't like to be tied to a plan. A lot of what I do in my crafting is spontaneous. I don't know what I'm going to feel like making at any particular time. And so I don't want to be tied to knitting a certain project or crocheting one or sewing something. I just go where the mood takes me. How about you? Are you a planner or are you a spontaneous sort of let's do this now sort of person? and to heck with tomorrow. Well, I'm not finding those other two pieces with the straight edges. I hope they show up. At least I know now that it fits the space. I've allowed it. It's funny, you'd think that jigsaw puzzles would always give you the finished, oh, there it is, finish the dimensions of the puzzle so that you can allow an appropriate amount of space for it. But this one does not say anything on the box. Just one piece to find with a straight edge, and it's got to segue there from black to white. Should be a fairly striking piece. Not seeing it. You're rather precariously balanced on a pile of books at the moment. I needed to get the camera or the phone up a little higher. It's going to be a fairly short vlog today, isn't it? So I put a whole 8 more stitches in this before I went to work this morning. As you can see, this is not going to be a quick project either. It may be small, but I'm not going to rush it. It's nice to have a few different things to choose from. I'm going to have the jigsaw, cross stitch, crochet. Talking about the crochet, the only bag I could find that's going to fit this project, probably going to fit this project, is not a very Christmassy one. And of course, me being me, I'm so tempted to sew a new project bag to put my Christmas project in. What do you reckon? It's so tempting. That would be a really good use of some of my Christmas fabrics, wouldn't it? Anyway, I was looking at Ravelry this morning in a little bit of time before I had to go to work. And once again, I was looking through my account. So quite often when I want to get some inspiration, I'll just go do a pattern search and I'll put in the amount of yarn I have and the weight and all that sort of thing. Or I'll look at the queue. I don't have a very long queue. This comes back to the whole I don't like to plan too much, because if I put a lot of things in the queue, they're just going to annoy me because I know I'm never going to make them all. So instead, I went through my Ravelry favorites, and that was quite eye-opening. I actually deleted a few things because I know I'm never going to make them. But there was one thing in there that was, it's called Hood in a Snood. And it's a pattern by Dora Does. And I've made her patterns before. Well, my languishing work in progress is actually one of her projects, but it's sock weight yarn, and that's why. But I've made a couple of garments from her Any Yarn Will Do cardigan pattern and her Any Yarn Will Do sweater pattern. And I also made, oh, what was it called? Something to do with stash. It was a batwing sweater. And it was something like a stash busting sweater or something. Oh, I can't remember what it was called now. If I remember, I'll look it up and I'll put it underneath. But this pattern is by her, and it's a cowl, but it's quite neat in that it's shaped. So the hood shape is less crochet at the front and more crochet at the back. So you shape it with short rows. So it's made with bulky yarn, which I have. Boom, right there. And an 8mm hook, which I also have. Okay, it's supposed to be in the bag, but I can't find it. Oh, it's in the pocket. 8mm hook. By the way, I have a whole set of these Knit Pro hooks. Knit Pro waves. Love them. They didn't come as a set, but I bought them, I think, from Wool Warehouse in the UK. And I got every size they had. And if I ever lose one, I'll be very sad. At least it'd be easy to replace. But I just love having every single size there is. So I am ready to start this I'm ready to start croak, losing my voice. I am ready to start this hood in a snood. And the yardage is quite small that she uses in the pattern. I have a feeling I might even just use one of these cakes. Not sure where this little random piece of yarn came from. So if I only use one of these, I could maybe crochet up really quickly a pair of fingerless mitts to go with the hood, couldn't I? So seeing as I seem to be a little bit ADD about my crafting right now, and I seem to need about 5 different things on the go so I can do a bit of each every day, maybe I'll check out the pattern for that tonight and maybe just get started. It's she has a free version on her blog, and she also has a paid version. I did buy her patterns for her sweater and cardigan because those are only paid. And because there's so much work in those, I can see why they are paid patterns, because she has instructions for about 5 different weights of yarn and multiple sizes. So there was a lot of work in those, and that's definitely worth paying for. Highly recommended. But I'm just going to use the free version of the cowl on her website. So I think I'm going to stop here because it's getting on for time, and I don't want to repeat of last night when I uploaded it and I was getting tired, and at 9 o'clock I thought, oh, maybe I can go to bed soon. And then I couldn't because YouTube told me I had left something in there that was breaching their copyright rules. And so I had to put the editing software music over the clip I had made of my Christmas tree because I had something playing in the background, and YouTube does not like that. So I had to re-upload it. And then I had to do a couple other things, which means I didn't go to bed till 10 o'clock, by which time I was well and truly fed up. So we're going to start editing, and we're going to upload at a reasonable time tonight. And I will show you what I've done on the crochet tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.